images from Iran as mourners take to the streets shouting death to America, vowing harsh revenge. Has the retaliation already started this morning in cyberspace? And the warning from Homeland Security for Americans here in the U.S.
Plus, President Trump warning that dozens of Iranian sites could be targeted if Iran strikes against American assets. The tweet that is raising the question, is anything off limits here? With more troops on the way to the region, we're learning who got advance warning of the deadly drone strike and who didn't.
Also this morning, raging inferno, the whipping winds and blistering temperatures creating apocalyptic-like scenes in Australia. Americans brought in to help.
Pretty honorable mission that we have right now.
The break firefighters are getting this morning.
Tom Brady's future. What's next for the Patriots legend after last night's crushing defeat?
You know, I love playing football. I love playing for this team.
What he's saying about the loss overnight.
Harvey Weinstein on the record, the disgraced movie mogul, releasing his thoughts as his trial is about to get started.
And close encounter, the driver who came face to face with this bison.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Hey, good morning, and let's get straight to our top story. As we come on the air, they are marching in the streets in Iran, angry mourners at a funeral procession for General Qasem Soleimani, the powerful, notorious military official taken out in that American drone strike.
This comes as President Trump takes his saber rattling to a new level. In a series of tweets, the president warning the Iranians that if they strike back, quote, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites representing the 52 American hostages taken by Iran many years ago.
We have team coverage this morning, including the increased security precautions being taken here at home. Also, George is standing by with analysis, but we begin with ABC's senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who is on the ground in northern Iraq. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Eva. That's right. I mean, Iraq is on edge today. Perhaps we've seen the first signs of small-scale retaliation overnight, but everyone here is expecting a decisive response, with clear warnings from one of the key pro-Iranian militias here that attacks against Americans will begin from this evening.
This morning, thousands of mourners on the streets in Iran. Symbolic caskets aloft, weeping and chanting, I am Soleimani. 3 days of mourning declared after a U.S. drone strike at Baghdad airport killed Iran's top general and other major officials on Thursday night. In a meeting today, members of the Iranian parliament unanimously chanted death to America with raised fists as their late leader's body was returned to southwest Iran. And a red flag, symbolic of a declaration of revenge or war, raised above a key Iranian mosque on Saturday. And overnight, perhaps the first signs of retaliation. Rocket attacks on the Green Zone in Baghdad that houses the U.S. Embassy. And near Balad military base, though no U.S. diplomats or troops were harmed. Iran and its allies have sworn harsh revenge against the U.S., the head of the Revolutionary Guard threatening to put an end to American presence in the region. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has been speaking with U.S. allies and others in the Middle East, most recently Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, saying in a statement that he underscored the Trump administration's resolve in protecting American interests, personnel, facilities and partners. The U.S. now sending reinforcements to the region, deploying around 3,500 troops from the 82nd Airborne Division and sending additional equipment, as NATO suspends training of Iraqi forces amid fears that Soleimani's killing could trigger a firestorm in the Middle East.
Well, one more thing to bring you up to speed on. The Iraqi parliament has been in session, and one of the items that some of the parties wanted to discuss was the possibility of expelling U.S. troops from the country. Now, it doesn't look like that's going to go through, but it does show you the strength of feeling right here in the region. Eva?
Ian Pannell for us this morning in northern Iraq. And this morning, we may already be seeing signs of retaliation. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is in Times Square, where security is already tight. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, Eva. It definitely is. We see stepped up police patrols here in Times Square, and the Department of Homeland Security is now warning of an apparent hack of a federal website. The site displayed the image of President Trump bleeding with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard fist in his face. DHS tells ABC News overnight in a statement, "We are aware the website of the Federal Depository Library Program was defaced with pro-Iranian, anti-U.S. messaging. At this time, there is no confirmation that this was the action of Iranian state-sponsored actors. The website was taken offline." Now, this comes hours after the Department of DHS issued a notice Saturday warning law enforcement agencies about possible retaliation from Iran, a document that had been in the works since the drone strike Thursday that killed Iran's top military commander. Local and federal officials have increased security in cities across the country, but Eva, some measures may be noticeable, some may not.
Now, Stephanie, federal officials are also warning Americans to be alert when they're out in public.
Exactly. DHS recommends Americans stay informed while you're out at public events, especially if you're traveling. They want you to go about your life, but they also want you to stay vigilant, be aware, and know where those emergency exits are. Officials also say we could see more cyber disruptions as well, and watch out for suspicious emails and network delays. DHS suggests you back up your data and implement multi-factor authentication on your devices. Again, authorities don't know exactly what's to come, but they say the threat is real. Eva.
All right, Stephanie Ramos for us. Thank you. Whit.
President Trump giving a bold warning to Iran, saying if the nation retaliates, the U.S. is ready to strike Iranian targets fast and hard. ABC's David Wright is in West Palm Beach, where the president made the decision to launch that airstrike, killing General Soleimani. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Whit. You know, the rest of the world may be calling for de-escalation, but President Trump appears to be determined to go for deterrence instead. Even at the risk of inflaming things even more, he has been tweeting taunts and threats at Iran, bragging about American military hardware and saying if they attack us again, we will hit them harder than they have ever been hit before. Overnight, President Trump ratcheted up the threats to Iran, warning them not to retaliate for the killing of Qasem Soleimani. "Let this serve as a warning," he tweeted, "that if Iran strikes any Americans or American assets, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites, some at a very high level and important to Iran and the Iranian culture." He made it clear that number 52 reflects the 52 Americans held hostage in Iran after the 1979 revolution. We say no more! That bellicose rhetoric, even as U.S. cities from coast to coast saw scattered protests this weekend. Resist! People concerned Trump has brought us to the brink of another costly war.
We've been there, we've done that, it didn't work, we've created terrorists, we've created ISIS, we need to stop.
The plans for this attack were reportedly well in the works before New Year's, when the president told reporters at Mar-a-Lago the new year would not bring war with Iran.
No, I want to have peace. I like peace. And Iran should want peace more than anybody.
The administration reportedly gave Israel advanced warning. But key European allies, some of whom have troops in the region, appear to have been caught by surprise. Senator Lindsey Graham told Fox News he was brought into the loop when he played a round of golf with the president earlier New Year's week.
I appreciate being brought into the orbit.
But the administration did not give Democratic leaders any advanced warning. Last night, the administration finally did deliver the notification required under the 1973 War Powers Act, but classified the document. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a statement. The highly unusual decision to classify this document in its entirety compounds our many concerns and suggests that the Congress and the American people are being left in the dark about our national security. Democrats in Congress are going to have a lot of questions for the administration. There are also questions about the legality of the strike under international law, according to a French human rights expert who reviews extrajudicial killings for the United Nations. In a series of tweets, she raised questions about the Pentagon's rationale for this operation, saying it seems far more retaliatory for past acts than anticipatory of imminent self-defense. Dan?
David Wright from Florida. David, thank you very much. Let's bring in our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, who's going to be hosting This Week later this morning. George, good morning to you. You've seen this reporting this morning that apparently military officials went to the president, presented him with a range of options, the taking out of Soleimani being the most extreme. And apparently they were really surprised when the president came back and said, I will take that option. Do you have a sense of what his game plan was there?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, I think we have to look at the facts here and the past history of General Soleimani. No question he has American blood on his hands. He's a sworn enemy of the United States. But both President George W. Bush and President Barack Obama refused to target Soleimani because they feared that the risks of a wider war with Iran outweighed the benefits of killing Soleimani. One of the reasons that Pentagon officials were surprised that the president took that action. What do we know? We know there was an attack on an Iranian attack on an American Iraq military base on December 27th. We know that they had those protesters go into the American embassy. The president in the past had shown some restraint in responding to Iranian attacks, and the reporting in the New York Times is that he feared that perhaps he looked weak, so decided to take this measure.
Yeah, there are times of saying that he was watching the coverage and didn't like the way it was playing. You're going to be talking to the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, this morning. Do you think there's any chance for diplomacy here for the two sides to sit down at a table together?
Well, that's been the big question right now. You know, I've had this policy under President Trump of moving away from the Iran nuclear agreement, of putting in new sanctions on Iran, maximum pressure designed to get to the negotiating table. It hasn't worked so far. It appears almost certain that Iran is first going to have to retaliate before any kind of negotiations. That's what they're promising. They're refusing to negotiate right now. Whether anything productive is happening behind the scenes, we don't know for sure. It doesn't appear so.
But the danger of their retaliation, the calibration has to be quite precise.
Well, that's the big question. Does either side actually want a wider war? The United States doesn't particularly want it. The president has been trying to stay out of the Middle East. Iran would have to fear it as well. The United States is a much more powerful military than Iran. But once you get in a situation like this, where the risk of escalation are so high, this could happen by accident, by miscalculation, and that's what the real danger is.
All you have to do is look at history. This is how wars start, time and again. George, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I want to remind everybody, George has a big show this morning. He's going to go one-on-one with the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, as discussed. Plus, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer speaks exclusively with George about the latest on impeachment. That's all coming up on This Week later this morning right here on ABC. Eva, over to you. George, thanks again.
Well, overnight, the extremist group Al-Shabaab has taken credit for an attack at a Kenyan military base used by U.S. forces. Witnesses say a car bomb exploded near Manda Bay Airfield. Some U.S. aircraft and vehicles are said to have been destroyed, but no deaths have been reported. There doesn't appear to be any connection between this attack and the tensions in the Middle East.
And we turn now to France, where prosecutors say Friday's deadly knife attack is now being treated as a terror-related incident. Several people were stabbed in a Parisian suburb by a 22-year-old man who investigators now say had been recently radicalized. One man has died, 2 women were injured. The suspect was shot and killed as he attempted to flee.
Now to those devastating Australia wildfires, some have called apocalyptic. ABC's Maggie Rulli is there on the ground with the latest on the fire danger. Maggie, good morning.
With the people who are here living through this destruction every day tell me they're exhausted, they're scared, and they do not want the world to forget about them.
This morning, new images of what could be the worst day of wildfires in Australia's history. Cars driving through highways engulfed in flames Saturday in the desperate race to get out. Fires erupting throughout the southeast, the sky glaring orange and thick with smoke. Now, nearly 150 bushfires are burning, almost 2,000 homes destroyed. So far, at least 24 people have died.
200 meters to go, over.
Firefighters furiously battling flames, hoping today could be the turning point as the temperature drops and rainfall begins. Steve Price is a firefighter from Idaho. He's one of dozens of Americans who volunteered to come fight these fires. He says they're bigger than anything he's seen before, and Australia needs our help.
It's a pretty honorable mission that we have right now. I'm taking it really serious and trying to help them as much as we can.
He's here for people like Paula, who stayed behind to protect her home. We went to check on her after Saturday's blaze tore through her neighborhood. The road to her house was still burning.
How are you doing? Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you safe.
Thankfully, Paula and her husband David were able to battle back the flames.
was all in there, all down there.
Really?
And then it just jumped from the grass and then just went all the way through.
The fire's burning through about 15 million acres of land and threatening countless wildlife. Animal Planet's Terry and Robert Irwin from Australia Zoo say it will be a long battle to bring them back.
About 500 million animals whose lives have been lost. There's been so much destruction that we're going to need to really amp up our care for wildlife for years to come.
We are getting some better weather here today. The temperature has dropped a full 30 degrees here. And we even saw rain showers at one point, but driving down the highway, there are still fires on either side of the road at some points. And the firefighters here tell me that they still have a long way to go. Eva?
All right, Maggie, really for us. Well, fans of Tom Brady may have just seen him play his final game with the Patriots. Overnight, so much at stake in the game against the Titans. ABC's Trevor Alt joins us with more. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Eva. It was a great day for football yesterday. 2 games, the playoffs getting started, and both of those games went down to the wire last night. And this morning, the big talking point and the big question mark is what happens next for Tom Brady. Is he going to be back in a Patriots uniform, or more broadly, is he going to be back at all?
This morning, it's possible Patriots legend Tom Brady has played his final game in a New England uniform.
I would say it's pretty unlikely, but who knows what the future holds, so we'll leave it at that.
With the Tennessee Titans pulling off an upset Saturday in Foxborough, the 42-year-old Brady now stepping into an uncertain future as an unrestricted free agent. His final pass intercepted and returned for a touchdown.
Touchdown by Logan Ryan, the former Patriot.
It happens when you throw the ball, so which should have been a 99-yard touchdown. That would have been pretty cool, but it wasn't.
In his 20 years in the league, Tom Brady's resume has been impeccable, leading the Patriots to 6 Super Bowl wins, some even calling him the greatest to ever play the game. But this season, with many noting a distinct drop in the Patriots' offensive talent, his numbers have fallen. His 24 touchdowns this year, the fewest he's thrown in more than a decade, and even if he decides to keep playing next year, without a contract, he'd need New England to agree to bring him back.
There's nobody who's had a better career, I would say, than me. Just being with them. So I'm very blessed, and I don't know what the future looks like, and I'm not going to predict it.
Coach Bill Belichick notoriously tight-lipped about the organization's plans.
Bill, do you anticipate the Patriots will bring back Tom Brady for the 2020 season?
Right now, we just finished the game, so we're focused on this game, okay?
Brady has said many times in the past he wants to play until he is 45. He's played his entire career with the Patriots. It is kind of impossible to think about him finishing his career with another team, but it's happened in the past.
Absolutely.
It's an earthquake for that whole region.
Right. I was going to ask you, Dan, as the closest to retirement.
That's an age joke, I think. I can tell you, growing up in Boston, this is something that everybody's going to be talking about. No question about it.
For
Trevor,
sure.
thank you very much. And there'll be.
I apologize sincerely.
Totally kidding. We're going to switch gears now and turn to the weather. The weather possibly to blame for a chain reaction crash on a turnpike in Pennsylvania. We're hearing that there are multiple people who have been killed and injured. So let's get it right over to Rob, who's got more on that. Hey, Rob.
Hi, Dan. We've got 2 tractor trailers, 1 tour bus involved in this, and multiple vehicles. As you mentioned, we have multiple fatalities and multiple injuries with this. But it sounds awful along the Pennsylvania Turnpike near Pittsburgh. You see there's multiple snow showers coming in, temperatures at and slightly below freezing, so that could certainly lead to slick roadways. We had a slick runway, a taxiway in Green Bay Airport yesterday. This Delta Flight 717 sliding off the taxiway as it was getting ready to take off. And there was tornadoes, 2 of them touching down in Lake and Fallujah counties in Florida yesterday, and you see some of the damage here. We don't expect much in the way of severe thunderstorms today because the warmer air has been pushed out. We've got a couple of clippers that have moved through. This one will come through tonight and tomorrow morning, maybe an inch or 2, especially near the Great Lakes. And then a slightly more substantial system coming into, say, West Virginia Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday afternoon getting up and through Philadelphia, Scranton, New York, Pennsylvania, in through Boston by Wednesday morning. And a quick thumping of snow with this, I think. Anywhere from 2 to maybe 8 inches, depending on where you live. Certainly central and southern New England will get most of this, and freezing temperatures will cause some slick roadways here as we go through tomorrow and Tuesday, and really into Wednesday morning, too. That's checking what's happening nationally. Time now for your local forecast.
Well, hello and welcome to the end of the weekend. Sunshine is set to return today. Now you will wake up with some windy conditions, northwesterly around 30 up to 40 miles per hour at times, but winds will diminish through the afternoon. A lot of sunshine later on today, temperatures into the mid 40s. Now tomorrow, high temperatures around 50 degrees, plenty of sunshine to start the work week. We do have the chance for a light wintry mix, mainly north and west of D.C. on Tuesday. Temperatures in the lower 40s, breezy and cold on your Wednesday.
I'm going to talk more about that in the next half hour, guys.